p.m. Before we go any further, well, we can do that as we go down through here. So, Commissioner Harris, if you could give us an invitation.
Sure. Heavenly Father, Lord, we just give you all the praise, honor, and glory, Lord, for this day. We thank you, Lord, for bringing us here, Lord, to do county's business, Lord. We pray, Heavenly Father, Lord, all the things that we do and say, Lord, are pleasing unto you. Pray, Lord, you just go with us and lead, guide, and direct us in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right. Before we approve the agenda, under new business, item C, we have Commissioner Harris has asked we add volunteer fire department information topic there. So we'll add that under C if there's no objection. Yeah, it's just information, but regarding volunteer fire department, I have no idea what it is.
Infomercial.
He'll explain it as we go. So, all right, so I have a motion to approve the agenda. So moved. Second. Motion by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Jones. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, approval of the minutes from April 1st, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
So moved by Dr. Zanone. Have a second?
Bergdorf.
Second by Commissioner Bergdorf. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Or got me at aye. Distracted by smudge on my glasses. All right, rolling right on through recognition of the public. Brad Williams, can you come up, state your name and address.
Yes, sir. Brad Williams, White House Community, 1916 Highway 31W. Real quick, I want to speak on the fire department agenda item that was just added. Long and short of this one is Friday we had the budget meeting for nonprofits, which I was a part of. Towards the end, during the workshop, we started talking with Mr. Mansfield and Mr. Show about the way our payments and funding are done in the future. And he had made mention that he wants us to switch all of our funding over from county funded into subscription based, which is not going to be something that's very easy to do, not very valid, and also probably very difficult. There's a lot of reasons why we don't want to do that. And they also mentioned about the same problem we have every year with funding in the fire departments and how things tend to go with us. And so I'd like to recommend that we, if this body here would approve it, to have an ad hoc about this topic. So for some future planning of the fire departments, how funding would work, to go through some legal things that I think would be important for the commission to know as a whole, for the community to know. And since we fall under this body, I figure this would be the right place to do it, to get this ball rolling, and then give us an entire year to plan for next year's budget hearing, if that's what they want to do, or how that would go. But yes, sir. I'm willing to have any questions at that time if it comes up. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, sir. Report of the chair, I have none. Report of the county mayor.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Like, report of the sheriff.
Yes, sir. Sergeant Chris Hines at the Sheriff's Office. For the month of April, we had total deposits were $42,580.74. Two disbursements for April for bank fees and animal control refund. 5,324 calls for service. You have your arrest report is attached as well as your call for service report. Our average daily population in the jail is 715. For the month of April, we received 1,253 criminal warrants and served 1,258 criminal warrants. In civil warrants, we received 639 and served 803. And June 1st, we will be having our next civil service testing for pretty much most positions at the Sheriff's Office.
Where?
Most for patrol and the testing will be at Galveston High School.
Okay.
It's customarily where we have it every year.
That's for new. Excuse me. That's
Yes,
for new.
ma'am.
Yes. For new recruitment.
Do y'all, every now and then you go to different parts of the county to do the test, or do you just always do it at Galveston High School?
Usually we just host the testings at Galveston High
Okay.
School. We used to do them at Joe Schaefer.
Okay.
And here in the last year or two, we've moved them over to Galveston High School just because it's a bigger facility. And just a little easier for the process to host multiple testings in multiple different locations in the building at one time. Yes, ma'am.
So I was wondering, I don't have any reference, I don't know if does this mean civil warrants went up, went down? Is there a way that we could see them over time in the future? I mean, I don't know, last year, did you have 100 or did you have 3,000? I have no reference.
Okay, I can get those numbers
You know
for
what
you
I'm
and report it
saying?
next
Just
time.
to give me an idea. So give me like, maybe month over month for the last 18. Oh, it's back here, Daryl said. Did you?
The total for April and the total for year-to-date was 5,016.
So is that up or down? I don't know.
I
Just
don't
something to
know
show
what
us.
matrix it is.
That would just be interesting.
Right,
Yeah.
this is new.
I like it.
Right.
I like it.
I like it too.
I have a question about the civil training. Is that, what does that include, sir?
The civil service testing,
Yes, sir.
so it is a civil service test that's put on by our civil service board at the sheriff's office. And any new hires that come on to the sheriff's office will have to take that written examination, and that's just the first step in the process towards hiring.
So if someone wanted to be a sheriff, then they would need to take that test first?
Yes, ma'am, it is required, to be employed at the sheriff's office. Is to
And
take
is
the
it
civil
just
service.
a written test?
Yes, ma'am, it's like a general knowledge aptitude written examination.
So I could take it and become a sheriff?
Yes, ma'am.
Mary, I was thinking the same thing. I want to take it. How much does it cost the county per test?
$20 is the testing
I'm
fee.
serious.
So they have to pay to take the fee, they have to
Those
pay.
that are outside the sheriff's office, yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
If you're a current employee with the sheriff's office, you're not required to pay to take the promotional testing.
So what do you,
And when,
recommend for the age range on the civil?
Anybody, they're
for
not
the-
discriminatory.
what,
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think about that. Well, I was thinking for sheriff's deputy.
Mr. Jones.
What? He said that.
What-
I
what
know.
is it?
I'm just
I'll
wondering.
let you first.
Could you explain a little bit about animal control ready fund? But if you're not prepared to, I can get that Tuesday in our meeting. If you want to read.
I'm not prepared to
Can you,
comment
can you
on.
ask, can you ask for somebody to jump in and answer?
Sure.
Just so I understand what that is.
He said Sergeant Chris Vines, he recently got a promotion to Lieutenant Chris Vines.
Well, that takes effect July 1st.
What about?
you're the guy, this is off topic, but you're the guy, that somebody called me and said that, they had a warrant on me for something, and it was you, were the person, and it turned out to be a scam. I called the sheriff's department, and your name is, but we gotta clear it up.
They like to move around the sheriff's office and use different ones.
Yeah, it was, cause you had got, they said that was interesting, cause you had gotten promoted, I said, well, that's what happened.
Any other questions?
Is their jail population up or down?
I'm not sure what last month's numbers were.
It has not, I can tell you this, it has not been over 700 in a while.
Yeah.
Then
I think
it's
we were
650 is what it was.
660, 680. Last report we got, so we're up about 30 some.
But every person arrested in Sumner County
Is in that house.
is in that house, underneath that roof.
Can I expand my request that you take back? In addition to seeing the warrants month over month, back to Commissioner Berthorst, like the jail population, can we see that too, so we know, just to answer this question, are we up or down, or how are we
They
up?
give that
or-
No, I'll absolutely.
Just the whole
They,
thing.
they give you.
It's in our report.
All you gotta do is go back and pull your own
Mhm.
report
Yeah,
every
but
month.
every month we'll go back and make our own report.
I mean, I keep these.
Thank you.
That's why I thought that's why we asked for them to keep them.
Do you have a list?
You know, something like that, like a pie chart or something.
All right. Report of EMA, I don't think EMA's here, they're probably storm watching, it sounds like. All right, report of EMS.
Good afternoon. Went ahead and passed out everything for you guys. That first, page is the standard call purchase transport to April 2185 for calls, transports, 1681. Following page is just a breakdown of each station, each truck and what they're doing. Next page is that, report from CAD that shows all the different kind of calls for the month of April, broken down per call type. Next page there is our responses into the county, into another county, and then, basically it's Robertson County coming into, Sumner County, so. You can see down at the bottom, there's 36 calls, that Robertson County responded into Sumner County. We went into Robertson County 19 times, and Macon County 1 time. The majority of the Robertson County was on the Portland side, in the industrial place there, and then a few right there around the Millersville, Villageville area. The next over, the yellow there is April's revenue. You'll see it is, $820,546 and some change, which puts our total revenue, for this, fiscal year at a little over 7.1 million. And, per our projections with, finance, we are still trending to be, above projections. Excuse me. The next page there is our charge, so that's everything that we charged out in the month of April. So you can see we charged, almost 1.7 million, 1.677. So that is all the charges that we went out for the month. And then on the very back page is our AR report, and that shows where everything is up into over 180 days, with our current AR standing at 77 days.
I have a question.
Third report. Good.
On the, informed browser problem type summary, and I'm kind of zeroing in on this, on the overdose portion, you have 0, and the sheriff's department had 10. So why would that be different?
They may have came out as a different call site. I don't know. I have not run the overdose report that I send to, for the, Dawson.
Dustin?
Yes. I haven't ran that report yet to get to him, so I have a specific report I run for him, so I'll see what those numbers are, and see if there are any.
That's helpful.
But the report I run for him is what our paramedics put in as the first impression with the patient. So if we get called for a unconscious patient, it's dispatched as unconscious, but once we get there and find out that the patient is overdosed.
So that would not be reflected on here?
It would not be.
Okay.
No, because that's the initial 911 call that comes out.
I got it.
So, we've spent a lot of time last week, so I'm not gonna bring up expenditures again, but they're not here again. But what I have a different question this time.
Okay.
Tomorrow we have an insurance meeting, and we're starting to look more at insurance and stuff, and I've been trying to wrap my brain around the cost. I mean, not that anybody does, we all have like door dents and we run over fences and stuff. I know my family didn't, but I'm trying to understand how much repair to vehicles we do in this county. And so I was talking to Kim White about it, and I understand now that we absorb that cost back into our maintenance. And I'm just wondering if there's a list in your department of those type of things, because I'm looking at the vehicle limbs and stuff. So what do you do with vehicle damage?
Vehicle damage, of course, if it takes a truck out of service, we need to swap into a reserve ambulance. But that truck, even if it's our fault, somebody else's fault to hit it, we try to go ahead and get it back in service as quickly as possible. So we'll go ahead and get that fixed. Now, if it's on us and we backed into a pole and been up the thing, we're going to take care of that. We turn all those into risk management. I know one of our deputy chiefs kind of keeps tallies on those and sends all those reports to risk management.
Okay.
So Ms. White should have
Ms.
those
White
for
said
you.
she wasn't sure if she gets all the reports, or if she only gets the ones that might involve another person's insurance, where we should see reimbursement outside. She's not sure. So the list she has is 100% all of
The
it.
list she has should be any kind of damage to an ambulance.
And that's all. I was just trying to get it up, tidy it up.
Okay. And I thought you were getting those from the reports from finance on the expenditure. Because you want the whole picture, right?
Well,
They will have that.
when we look and we see the revenue, we should get a bubble. But if you want me to start having them print a report.
If they'll print a report and send it to me, then I'll be more than happy to include it in there.
Thank you for the insurance.
Report to the ECC. I don't see anybody here. Ken, Mary, do you have a report?
Yeah, I can give you the total cost of service, law enforcement, 14,379, fire, 2,104, EMS, 2,249, and 911 was, 4,104, and admin costs, 13,559. That was just for the month.
And then staff, do you know how many were short over there by chance?
I think we're still at 5.
So, okay. All right, under old business, we have the ECD MOU, Sumner County and Gallatin. It's my understanding we went from this committee, it's now sitting in Gen Ops. Gen Ops decided to roll it in one, last month, so that should be acted up next week under Gen Ops for approval. Hopefully we can get that on through, to full commission in May. So anybody got any questions, comments, concerns on that? Under old business, we'll leave it there unless it goes through Gen Ops, and then we can report it if it goes to full commission. Please, sir. And then under new business, Volunteer State Community College, ambulance donation. That's, that is Volunteer State Community College is looking for an ambulance to have to train EMTs and paramedics, across our, I say our, because transparency, I do work at Volunteer State Community College, so I don't want anybody to throw any darts later. They're needing an ambulance to, service the students in the 11 county service area. So contact was made, and the county has 6 in surplus, and this, I believe, is one of the 6. I know is one of the 6 that they went over and said, yeah, this is the one we would like to have, and it'll be tagged and marked up for educational purposes. Questions? Yeah.
In that regard, since they're in surplus, why are there 6 in surplus and they're not using them?
So I believe, and Chief is here, but I don't know if I'm wrong, just correct me, but I believe these 6 are at their mileage limit, that they have to be surplus now. And then we got our new, was it good? Well, we got our new ones, I can't remember if it was 5 or 6 that replaced these. These have been moved to the back block.
So do they go to be sold on the government website, or?
I think typically is what they do when we have something, just as we were talking about, one that's damaged or another that has to go on the road. We will use these as limpers, if you will, as a crutch to get the other vehicle back
Would
out.
it affect them in an emergency response, like the tornado response, or?
No, I believe if the vehicle is unsafe, they tag it and would use the equipment inside of the vehicle, maybe to put on another one, the heart monitor is still good, or the O2 tanks, or
so
whatever.
It becomes a PlayStation.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. It's just extra.
Would that be, something we would have to put into, what is the program we have where they do donations and they assign donations to, like nonprofit?
No, I don't think so. I think it'd be just a capital transfer. Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah, it can be a transfer. Basically, it's going to require 16 votes. Anytime we give away property free, it would require 16 votes.
Okay.
But since they are considered nonprofit, we can go just transfer it straight to them. And my office is open time on it right now to sign off, should the commission.
Nonprofit in what, because it's a state school, so.
Yeah.
How do you consider that a nonprofit? I'm just asking. I don't understand.
Yeah, schools fall under that category as well.
A non.
Yeah, state schools.
They're making.
Not private schools, or state schools.
Okay. Just making sure I understand.
Is this already, they have already been in surplus, or they put it in surplus for this, to be able to do this?
No, this one was in the back lot, in the graveyard, as I would call it. Because like I said, when we got the new ones, these 5 or 6 were taken out of the fleet.
They're part of the reserve.
Yeah, this was not a hand-picked special unit for.
How many do they deem that we need for reserve, for the?
Hopefully, we never need any for
Well, the
reserve.
question that we talked about, Ms. Boyd asked about, like, they wreck one or need to work on one, they pull one out of the reserve, I'm assuming that's this pool. But what's a typical amount that they juggle with?
I have no idea.
This one's not considered part of the reserve. These have been decommissioned. They will not be used again.
Okay, then my next question leads to, why is this even coming before this committee? If it's already in surplus, it should be a Gen Ops.
It will be. It's on Gen Ops as well. Out of respect to this committee, since it was Health and Emergency Services, I felt it necessary to start here and then go to Gen Ops and then to the full commission.
So the education side of this will they be driving them and all that stuff?
Typically the instructors drive them, the students don't.
Yeah.
The instructors drive them and the students just use the equipment that's in the back for training. They have the mannequins, the full-size mannequins they put on the gurneys and all that and load them. Commissioner, go ahead. Commissioner Boudreaux.
I do have a question. If they're decommissioned, no doubt some of the equipment is out of date.
Sure.
So does the college then pay to update the equipment to reflect what they'll be coming on, when they graduate, they'll be going to the newer equipment. So, and then I understand if they're used to, if some of the pieces are good, so they use them for parts too some of the time.
Correct.
Or no, okay.
So what they typically do, this at least gives them something to have a hands-on, tangible product when they're doing a drake or whatever. They've got something, and they understand how small the ambulance quarters are and all that stuff. It just kind of gives them a virtual lab, basically, is what it's doing. And then obviously, once they go do their clinicals and they're in the field, that's when they're seeing the new equipment and they can at least relate to a heart monitor or whatever that's in the truck.
And I'm asking this mostly for anyone who's listening or watching. But we do use everything on a decommissioned end. We take everything that we can off before we gov deals it or.
Yeah. And I'm not speaking out of turn here, but Mary can correct me if I'm wrong. Normally it's the shell of the ambulance is what goes on the gov deal, and then the other parts typically we'll try to hold back and use.
If we need them for replacement.
Okay.
I'm just trying to wrap my mother of sons pull apart loving boys brain around it.
Anyone else? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
We need a motion.
Oh, we have a motion, let's go ahead and do it. All right, so we've got a motion by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Wright. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Goodness, so much discussion. I forgot where I was. So that'll go on to Gen Ops, and then it'll go to full commission from there. All right, EMS facility upgrade for the city of Millersville. Let's go ahead and get that motion for discussion and get it on the floor.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Second, all right. So, I guess we can go ahead and say, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, so this, Mayor, do you want us to give us an update on this and what we're looking at?
Yeah, in reviewing some of the EMS stations, and where we house with our cities and so forth, I ran across Millersville. Millersville just had an issue where one of their emergency stations was shut down due to code violations. And when I went into this one to inspect it, it's a life safety issue, code violation. They have basically built the resting quarters for our EMS personnel 5 feet from the exhaust pipe of the equipment. They have built out the rooms in the garage part of that. And that has to be cured immediately. It's estimated it's going to be about $250,000. Now, I'm starting here, but this is City of Millersville building. So we're going to have to negotiate with City of Millersville, get them to work with us to do that add-on. But based on previous things in Millersville, I don't think they have the funds to do it. And I would like to see us take on that task. Otherwise, we will be forced to remove the ambulance from that station and not have coverage up there because we cannot put the EMTs in a life safety issue like that.
Who closed this building?
This was built in Millersville.
No, who closed it? Who declared it closed?
Oh, it wasn't this building, it was another one. And it would have been Codes, I believe.
The one,
State Fire Marshal, thank you.
at the count,
Yeah. And apparently they haven't got space levels.
But so this one is still operational?
This is still operational because they have not reviewed it yet.
Okay.
I have a question.
Well, okay. Go ahead.
All right, so, I'm assuming this little square here on the end is where the sleeping quarters is, am I correct?
That's where we would like to put the sleeping quarters.
But, I mean, there's lines, is that where you want to put it, but where is it currently?
Currently, it's in the garage right next to.
inside this bigger part of the building. So what is this right here?
Oh, that's, quarters.
So that's where they're sleeping, and that's the.
No, that's not where they're sleeping. That's other living quarters, but it's not, it's like a kitchenette, bathroom, laundry room,
Okay,
and all of that. We were gonna build it on the other side of that to give a good separation from the garage. That's really the only place you can put it. We can't go to the back or to the other side.
and how long has this building been here, and they've been breathing in carbon dioxide?
Long time.
Monoxide, sorry. So, is there any way you could put, well, this is dumb, because if it's inside the bay, am I correct?
Yes.
Then that would be, they don't have ventilation out of there? They can't-
Well, when you raise garage doors.
But I mean, there's not a fan, I know one of the, fire departments I visited, I think it was in Oak Grove, they have an exhaust in that garage, it's up on the ceiling, and they blow that air out of there. So, they don't have anything like that, or?
Now, they probably have a fan up there. I didn't take that good pictures.
I was just wondering for cost purposes, I know you wanna build something, I appreciate that, but is there, I feel kind of, I know it's a life safety issue, and I'm all about that, but I don't know what it looks like to vote on something.
So this,
I've never been in this building.
I have, and I brought this to this committee's attention shortly after we took office in October of '22. And I did all the tours of the county and brought all this stuff in, did a presentation here, and this idea was supposed to be, it went to Gen Ops, and I think that's where it went to the graveyard shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
The only problem that I have with this, first of all, is that we don't own the building. And then the second thing is, as we're looking at spending $250,000 to own the building, or to build on the building we don't even own. I'm not gonna go build something on my neighbor's house, just because I think he's a good person. So that's the first thing. Now let's get down to the nuts and bolts of, do I want the paramedics' head literally on the opposite side of a return heat and air door, while their ambulance is cranking and they're putting on their shoes to get ready to go help somebody on a slip and fall? No.
So if that's a life safety issue, then they shouldn't even be sleeping in that.
Correct. And here's where I think we're at. A year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now, well, let's be fair, a year and a half ago, we was made aware of this situation. Nothing's been done. Council, I think that would be hard for us to deal with in court.
But Millersville hasn't done anything about it.
But it's our.
We don't own the building.
I understand that, but I think we would get into an issue, and I'm not arguing the
It's
legal
an
side of it,
okay.
I'll turn it over here.
Okay.
Correct, but it's our paramedics that's sleeping on the other side of an exhaust
I
vent
do
of a
understand
diesel engine.
Millersville owns the building, and they're required to do what they're supposed to do. I mean, say what you want, but you're kind of blaming us for something that Millersville's got going on.
Well, I don't think so, when we're the tenant, we become
I
responsible
get
for the
it.
building.
But
And the
my
contents
concern is,
residing in it.
what are they gonna do while they're, you wanna build this, and I understand what the mayor's saying, you wanna build this on, but that's gonna take a while to build that and get it approved and all that, and they're still sleeping in there with their heads up, exhaust pipe.
It is. So, my suggestion, Mayor, what is the status of the one that's like 4 miles up the road at City Hall?
I don't know the status on rebuilding that one, if they've got it up to codes or not.
So, do we know?
We can either address it now, or we can wait and let the state marshal say they can stay there, and we'll have to pull the ambulance.
I mean,
If we don't have coverage in that area.
but it's still, you're gonna have time here where you are gonna be building something, and it's gonna take quite a bit of time to build it. They're still gonna be in there, so you can't technically keep them in there.
That's why I was
You
wondering.
know the issue.
That's why I was wondering. Well, it's been there for a while.
It doesn't make it right.
I agree. A month and a half ago, it wasn't right, we ain't done nothing either.
Yeah.
So,
So that's what I'm saying, I'm concerned about the gentlemen and the females that are in there, but for them to be in there while they're gonna be doing construction, it's gonna take a while. You still have the same problem.
And that's why I was making the inquiries about the one that's 4 miles up the road.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to move that truck from there to this station here?
Yeah.
Or I think it's Bethel
Point of
Road.
order.
Just a moment.
This is general.
You're out of order.
No, this is
you're out of order.
totally not our committee, this is general
I
law.
think we're Health and Emergency Services. So if we take,
Building.
So,
Go ahead, I just want to say it's building.
okay, so all right, so anyway, my concern is that this is a proposal to do this, but we also, we still have a problem with the problem.
right, and that's what I'm saying, if we could take this truck that's here on Bethel and move it 3.6 miles or whatever it is up the road to the one that's the City Hall, that may put a Band-Aid on this situation, and then we can decide whether we want to spend $250,000 to fix this building that we don't even know.
Maybe.
Is that possible, Mayor? Do you know what,
Well, I don't know if we have space up there.
and housing and all that?
And, yeah, I don't know if they have a capacity to provide that service for us.
What if you rented a camper?
So I didn't hear that.
A camper, sorry, I'm just saying, for sleeping.
Put them in a camper?
Like next to the building, sleep in it.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not gonna answer.
While they're doing the construction, or
Yeah.
instead of.
Commissioner Jones?
No, while they're
Yes,
doing it.
I'd like to, agree with Commissioner Boyd. I think this is a building issue. It's something we have to spend money on a building. We're talking about, different properties and building onto this property. I don't necessarily agree that it's either spend $250,000 or the person gets sick from carbon monoxide fumes. There are devices that hook on the tailpipes that pop off when you drive out of the bay that fire departments use all the time. I think there could be other options explored, but all of that needs to be explored with general operations and Millersville City. This is not the place for this committee to discuss.
Commissioner Wright?
Whenever it comes to the safety and welfare of the citizens of this county, particularly the emergency operations part, that is us. The building part, I understand. But whenever it comes to the safety and security of those guys, that's something that we need to keep in mind too. And I think what you brought up about some type of exhaust, if you will, I think I don't believe we have looked at all avenues to rectify this situation. Spending $250,000 on a building that's not ours, I don't care what committee it's in. It's like you said, I love you to death, brother. But I ain't spending $250,000.
Don't make sense.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
I'd like to make a motion to send this to general operations to consider other options.
Before we take that up, can I
For
make
general
a
options
comment?
already on there.
You've got two separate issues going on here legally. You've got the building aspect of it, now you're on notice of an employee problem. So it's my recommendation that whatever the outcome of this is, you're gonna need to start addressing the employees now. So whatever that looks like or turns into, I'm not gonna dictate that, but you're on notice.
All right, so I have a motion to suspend the rules, we'll talk to the chief of the EMS and see where we're at in the service area. Motion by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Wright. Chief, sorry to put you on the spot. What do we look like with service in this area, with this station? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Okay, so the station that we're talking about here is probably the furthest one from anywhere else in the county, any of our other stations. It also is the one that's closest to the area around the city of White House that we have to respond to. We're already 16 minutes away from parts of that area right now, so closing the station down, it'll be very detrimental to our response in the area. I do not think that there's an option for it to move to the city hall location that you guys were talking about. So,
What would your suggestion be for coverage in this area?
for coverage in this area right now, there's not a public safety building in the area that we could get any space in that I'm aware of. Another problem that I want to make you guys aware of, it's not just carbon monoxide
John, how old is that building? Do you know?
We've been in it approximately 10 years when we come out of White House Community. And I'd say it was there at least 10 years before that, so 20.
That building's owned by the city of Millersville?
It is owned by the city.
Is it, so you don't know whether or not it's ever have an assessment done on the building to see what all does need to be done to that building?
It's
No.
failed.
Yeah.
It would fail,
I get it, but I'm just,
probably by the roof.
there's probably more issues than just the exhaust.
No, yeah.
But building onto it could be a safe option, to protect our employees from the dangers that we're talking about here today.
So, go ahead, Commissioner Johnson. So if we build onto this, if I remember this station correctly, there's no decontamination spot here, or maybe it is, I think it is a decontamination station there, but nothing to, I think it just all runs out of the floor.
There's room for decon in most of the washer and dryers.
Okay.
The only issue here with this station is the sleeping quarters, sleeping arrangements right now.
And then you would still, how would you cut back through the addition to making?
So right there where you're pointing right now, that's kind of it was an office space / living room.
Okay.
And then the kitchenette is to the north
Yeah.
there, so they could walk right through that,
Okay.
southern end.
Commissioner Jones?
I want to respect what my fellow commissioners saying about, protecting our employees and things like that, and also, keeping in mind what our county attorney has said, that, we're aware of the situation. But I think the only thing that can come out of this committee, and this is what I want to make a motion for, but.
We're not in session, so you'd have to bring this one.
Well, I'm not ready to make the motion yet, but I want to mention it just to see what everybody thinks about it, if it is properly, is to notify Millersville that they've been put on notice, that they need to remedy this problem, or we'll be forced to pull our employees out. And then the kind of conversation between them and general operations can continue, and we can look for something. But this is our responsibility because our employees don't like something, so we need to address it. But the long-term fix is going to have to come through Millersville one way or another, whether it be an agreement that they make with general operations.
Hold on, I want to push back just a second. This has absolutely nothing with our employees not liking something. This is a life safety issue. Let me make that very clear. Life safety issue that will be addressed tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't mean to water that down any,
Well,
but I don't
just
like
water
fumes
it
being put in my face either, so that's what I'm saying. Whether or not they like it or whether it's a life safety issue, they've been dealing with it for over a year now, so it needs to be fixed regardless. I wasn't intending on watering it down. It needs to be fixed. So, back to my point, I think it needs to be addressed with general operations, and Millersville needs to be made aware. So, if you all want to make that into a motion, that we can have our county attorney notify the city of Millersville of that they need to be put on notice, and then we need to continue to try to fix it with general operations.
I'd like to make it very clear that at this table, I've been told that these people are in jeopardy, life safety jeopardy, and they're sleeping in a building today that is unsafe for their habitat. So what are we going to do from today and forward? Just like the attorney said, we have an employee life safety issue. We cannot let them continue to stay in that building if it's dangerous.
That's where I was trying to get to, if there was a public safety building in the area or somewhere that they
And I
had
know
sleeping
that
quarters.
they made fun of me because I said, like, have a RV that they could sleep in next to the building. I meant that as a temporary fix until this gets resolved, so they don't have to move.
Right.
And, is it my turn?
Sure, go ahead.
So I would like to just add on to what Commissioner Stone's saying. I believe that this is an emergency purchase, Mayor, and we need to purchase portable quarters immediately under emergency measures. Is this not part of what you could do?
I can buy them a motorhome.
Does anybody think this is not an emergency?
Can we rent one? We could rent them.
Can you run it through the emergency procedure?
Sure.
Is it an emergency?
I think it's an emergency. Yeah.
Of course it is.
Can we
But
vote
I
on
have to
that?
get that cleared through legal and,
has this been deemed unsafe by the state?
Somebody called the state?
Not yet.
It has not.
I don't think so.
Well, this building has not been reviewed.
What's that, John?
This particular building has not been reviewed by the fire marshal's office.
Until it is, they're causing themselves a bigger problem. I just know because I'm a lot of safety inspector in the city office. Give me a heads up there.
They'll probably be there tomorrow, then.
I'm sure they will now.
Would there be any way that, since it is kind of a huge deal for the exhaust in there, can you pull the vehicle out while they left in there to been sealed? We figured out what we could do with that? I mean, I don't know the ins and outs, obviously it's not a great situation long term, but it would definitely take care of them like right now and get them out of that barn. Just a thought.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
If you know that.
Yeah, so we share that with the fire department. I think there are 3 or 4 fire engines in there as well. So we would have to leave all that equipment sitting out unsecured. And the ambulance, all the medications on that we don't need the general public to have access to.
You need to rent a camper.
All right. Chief, is there anything in that area that where we could house you guys?
White House Community Volunteer Fire Department is full. Their billings age as well. I don't think that they would have room for us to have full-time people there now. That's the closest fire station to the area. And then in the White House area, all of their bays and beds are full as well. So I don't know of anything, other than the 2 buildings in Millersville. We know that the other one is already been inhabitable.
Commissioner Brown?
I was down there 2 months ago, and the issue that I saw, that was presented to me, most of all, was the fact there were no sprinklers in the whole building, City Hall or the fire department. Well, that was a big thing, that's why they had to evacuate the living quarters.
We're on down the road.
What?
We're on down the road. We're about the road.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, anybody else?
So, I want to reiterate what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
And as far as you don't have to buy an RV, you can rent them. And that to me would be quick, and it'd be easy, and it'd be safe. You cannot continue to do this. This is what I'm saying. You brought it to the attention and didn't know anything about it. So I think it needs to be remedied. You can get it done quickly and just.
Does anybody have any more questions for Chief? No, we can go back under.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks, sir. All right, so we'll consider ourselves back in order. Legal, what is your opinion from obviously the legal side? And
Same as before, it's 2 different things. It's an employee safety issue that needs to be addressed immediately, and then the building, whatever the commission's will is on that. But, you're on notice, so I'd be surprised if somebody doesn't go inspect that building tomorrow.
no, they're probably already on the way. Go ahead.
So I will make a motion, as I said before, that the mayor puts in an emergency request to buy a portable or to find an answer to this. That's my motion. Find an answer.
I'd like to remind the committee we just invested $500,000 on the city sewer system. So, this is the first time we spent money on the city. So, just throwing that out there.
Commissioner Johnson,
I'm not.
we've got a motion on the floor.
Right. I want to discuss that motion. I'm not going to vote for an expenditure coming out of this committee that can be done in the proper committee that's getting ready to happen in an hour. And that's going to be taken up there, especially when we could send word to investigate other possible solutions, find out what other options they've been doing over the last year and a half, why that employee hasn't died in this whole time that this has been happening. They've been doing something. It's either not good enough, something needs to be improved. There may be other options out there. I want to explore all of that to fix this problem because nobody likes breathing fumes, and it will hurt them
more over time, I'm sure, but all of this can be done without voting for an expenditure out of this committee. I just don't think it's the proper place.
I'll withdraw my motion. If it's not an emergency for the mayor, I'll withdraw.
So, just, was you referring to Gen Ops meeting?
Yeah, he said it was also on Gen Ops at the same time, so it's gonna come up again.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if Mr. Jones has read his Gen Ops agenda yet, but it is under new business, so we will discuss it.
That's tonight, correct?
Yes, it is tonight.
But I think, and legal, tell me if I'm wrong, that for this to be in order, it needs to come out of this committee to favorable to go to Gen Ops. That's historically how we've done things.
County buildings.
As far as the building, it eventually needs to end up Gen Ops. I've seen stuff come out of different committees that end up on the committee they're supposed to be on. But again, I want to say this is a bifurcated issue. This is employees, and then there's your building, and the money you want to spend on that. So I just want to make that point very
So
clear.
give me a legal opinion, Health and Emergency Services needs to take care of the employee issue, correct?
I would say I would fall on this committee.
All right. I just want to make sure. Then you got the other problem. I'll continue to say. Then you got the other prong of it, which would be the building, which would fall under the general operations
Correct.
of the house.
Correct.
All right. So, Commissioner Jones.
That's why I wanted, and I guess now I'll make the motion and notify Millersville that they need to remedy the problem either on their own or work with Gen Ops to do it, or we'll be forced to have to pull our employees out there because we know it's an employee issue. That's the motion I'll make. That's the very least we can do in this committee is notify Millersville.
So unfortunately, all right, so we've got a motion on the floor. We have a second.
I'll second that.
We've got a second by Commissioner Wright. Here's the only problem with that. And I'm just thinking, we're going to expect them to remedy that problem right now. Because we've got employees in this building that's
not the nature of my motion. If I need to clarify or say more, I will. Do you want me to add to it?
I think we're looking at it as we've got a human resource type problem, which is an OSHA here. It's going to have a resolution somehow.
Well, I was trying to handle the legal part of the fact that we've been put on notice that someone else that owns a building that houses our people is in violation of codes. We don't know that they know that. We need to at least let them know that we know it, and they need to know it, that they've been put on notice that they're in violation and need to do something, and that starts the conversation with them and general operations, and they may or may not be able to fix that issue, but at least we did our part tonight by putting them on notice, because we just got put on notice that there's an issue. That takes care of part of the legal thing. Now, yes, we still need to do something with that dangerous problem, and that's something that we take up in general operations in the next hour. After education committee, we brainstorm on that, and hopefully there's some more people with knowledgeable things about devices that we can use to immediately remedy it. But the least we can do in this committee is put Millersville on notice. So that's what I wanted to at least get done. We'll continue the conversation in general.
If I may, my only problem with that is the city of Millersville is not going to be getting sued over this.
Correct.
It's going to be the county because it's a county employee. They can't tell us what to do or not to do with our employees, so we need to be taking the remedial steps to ensure the safety of them. That's my only concern.
If I was that employee, I'd probably sue both of them.
Well, that may be, but we're still in there.
Yeah, we'll handle our part in Gen Ops, but in the meantime, this committee needs to at least do something, which is to tell Millersville that they're on notice too.
I think
We've got to continue. This is not doing this for me, because I'm in Gen Ops. So
I
know I'm going to be
understand
taking it back up.
I would approach it from the reverse, which is remediate the problem with our employees, put them on notice at the same time, but at the end of the day, we're the only ones that have control over our employees.
I just don't know how to remediate problems, because we're not in a building committee right now that has options for
I'm
building.
talking about immediate remediation, which would be what you all have been discussing, which is the trailers, removing the ambulances from the base, whatever you all decide to do.
Along the tailpipe.
I'm talking about an employee, issue. I'm not talking about the gen ops issue at all.
And that's where they kind of blend right there, because.
To me, they're two separate things.
No, what I'm saying, fixing the employee problem could be something much more simpler that.
Well, but it's my understanding, based on the gauge of the conversation, that it is an interim fix to achieve a end result, but we've got a duty to the employee.
With all due respect, we're talking about, I've heard mention of buying a $150,000 RV for a temporary fix. That's insane. That's not something I would vote on. But renting something, temporary place to put them is a possibility. But again, that's not this committee's expertise to.
Well, you pay me to be the worst case scenario guy.
I got you.
Commissioner Boyd, let me go here and then I'll come to you.
So, first I'd like to apologize that I got pulled off the idea that it's an emergency, because I still do believe it is. I appreciate your advice, Commissioner Harris, but I still think it has to be fixed immediately, as soon as possible. In reference to Commissioner Holmes, I remember out at Shackle Island, they needed more space because they wanted to bring the ambulances in the winter. So ambulances can go outside. I've had discussions where they have to bring the medications in and lock up the narcotics for to be secure. I know at Oak Grove, we pushed their fire engines outside because we didn't have room, and we said they should sit outside until we get a building built. So ambulances and fire trucks can definitely go outside immediately to protect lives. We need to get some professionals in there and determine exactly what kind of fumes are coming in and get it resolved. But in the meantime, I think Commissioner Holmes is spot on, unless somebody else can tell me, because I've seen both options and heard people tell me these are doable things. The ambulances were outside at Shackle Island, and they are fire trucks outside at Oak Grove. We can move them out until we resolve this and buy a couple of weeks and get it fixed.
Commissioner Harris.
That's good. County attorney question. So it's your opinion that, well, what is your opinion? Do we need to move the employees out to protect them from any further possible?
Whatever risk you think is posed to the employees needs to be remediated immediately.
And
Now, I'm going off of comments.
Second.
I'm going off comments of carbon monoxide and what exactly is in the building. I've got nothing in front of
Is
me.
your suggestion, though, that we remove those folks from that facility?
From the problem?
As soon as
Create an environment where what they're being affected by no longer affects them.
So your motion is to move them out of the building.
To move the vehicles out of the building
Right.
until we have time to resolve this issue.
Who is,
It's not hot summer, it's not dead of winter.
I got it, but who owns the fire engine?
That's the next thing.
Who owns the
Volunteer
trucks?
fire
And-
department are in there.
So the equipment is owned by the,
ambulances, right?
We own the ambulance.
no, listen, inside that building are fire trucks and an ambulance. We own the ambulance, who owns the truck? Volunteer fire department. So we're asking them to move their trucks out.
No,
Yeah, that's my
no,
motion.
we're moving the ambulance.
We can move whatever needs to be moved out.
She made the motion.
Volunteer fire department's moved out at Oak Grove.
The threat, though, is.
We're only talking a couple of weeks.
Right, it's all of it in that
It's
building.
raw.
Mayor, go ahead.
You cannot, we have never had an ambulance sitting outside. You cannot have an ambulance sitting outside. It has not been outside in Shackle Island. You cannot offload medication in between calls. And then when you get a call in, load up medication. The ambulance have to stay inside.
And I'm sorry, I must have been given wrong information. That's why I was
Okay,
told
well,
we needed
that's why I'm
more room.
offering the correction.
So I'd like to make an emotion to your motion. Is that,
So we've got two motions on the floor.
I'm getting confused.
It's all right.
My
We all
motion is to,
Hold on, we've got two on the floor, you can't have no more.
okay, sorry.
We want to step back in time.
Got mine, so
Yes, sir. That's correct. We've got two motions on the floor. So the first motion is to remedy the problem, and that was, notify Millersville, and that we'll be forced to pull our EMS from that area. And there's a second on that. All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? No.
No.
So we're not gonna notify?
We're not gonna notify Miller.
Hold on a minute.
Who were the no's?
Hold on, please, Madam Clerk.
That's a low-hanging fruit right there.
Chairman Rogers?
No.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
That's the easiest, simple thing we can do.
No,
We can do more, we can do more,
Stop.
but we at least.
Commissioner Jones, stop, please.
I was a yes.
Yes, notify Millersville of the problem.
Commissioner Bergdorf? No to the motion. Commissioner Harris?
No.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
And Commissioner Ray?
Yes.
Four, in the affirmative. All right, so that will pass. So the second motion was, can you restate your motion?
My motion is to move the vehicles out, secure them until we can resolve this in the next short time period as an emergency measure.
All right, so there's the motion.
With all due respect, I am not moving an ambulance out. Sorry, y'all can pass all the motions you want. We cannot do that.
You sure? So we've got a motion to suspend the rules and ask the chief Ponce if he'd come up. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Chief Ponce, is it possible that they can temporarily secure medication out of an ambulance?
I cannot in good faith.
Has that ever been done in the past?
Not with a 911 ambulance in the field. The only time that we have ever said any ambulances, the 911 ambulances. There has been times whenever we were at the old building on Southwater where we put our basic life support ambulances behind the building and we plugged them in the wintertime. But they were completely stripped every night.
So what kind of ambulances are this going to be?
That
BLS
is
or ALS?
ALS, 911
Different
response
kinds
vehicle.
of medication or
Yes,
what's the difference?
that's correct. And it has to be, the BLS ambulances didn't have to be prepared to respond to an emergency at any time. They're the convalescent division that responds to scheduled calls.
Well, that explains the confusion in if BLSs have been in the past and ALSs cannot.
But an ALS ambulance, at our outline stations have never set outside the building.
How would that affect response time? If we were to have to track everything in and out every
Yeah,
time?
I mean, it
we
depends
park the
on-
truck?
Yeah, depends on where we land that ambulance, you know, if we have to move it to another station, we don't have anything close there. Shackle Island, there's not room there for it.
If it were in the parking lot, every time they came back to the station, and they had to take all of the medicines out of the ambulance and put it in the building, so how does that affect response
10
time?
minutes.
Thank you.
So the issue though too is the fact that there's controlled substances on that truck. And you can't leave them unattended.
They can't be unattended and they have to be climate controlled.
Right.
Response time.
So that's not really.
No.
I'm just.
So I withdraw removing the ambulance. We could remove part of the fuel side of, it doesn't matter if it's fuel. We need an answer if it's an emergency purchase of portable sleeping units, if we have to have men stationed there. But Mayor, this is.
All right, so let's go back in session, thank you, Chief. We may call on you again. We don't know where this is headed. Commissioner Jones?
I wanted to make a motion that we explore.
Actually, hang on just one second, sorry, just so we can parliamentary. Now that we're back.
Motion withdrawn.
Thank you. Now we're back to Commissioner.
I would like to make a motion that we explore renting an RV for the next 60 days to house these employees until this gets resolved. Because at this point, we don't have the ability to keep them safe in that building. That's period, end of story for me, and that's my motion.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor.
Can I amend that?
We don't have a second
I'll
yet.
second.
All right, now we've got a second. Now, the mayor's, go ahead, and then we'll come back to
We'll
Commissioner
let Commissioner Jones do it.
Jones. All right, come with Commissioner Jones.
Can it be, would you be okay to change it to, or whatever temporary, type building or sleeping unit that's more cost effective? It could be like a little, office trailer or something like that, whatever's cheaper. RV may be the cheapest way to go, but I don't know. Can you change it to a more generic, motion for that?
Okay, my motion is to explore renting a sleeping quarters for the
A temporary sleep.
temporary sleeping quarters for the next 60 days to get this resolved.
I'm supposed to go up to the ops, right?
Yes, we're just trying to
So that
move
we
it
can get
along.
this taken care of.
All right, so now we've got a second by Commissioner Jones. Mayor, do you have anything?
We also, have to make sure that we separate male and female in this, so we can't put them in the same room.
At least a 2-room sleeping quarters.
At least 2 rooms.
Well, that's just kind of real.
Yeah.
All right,
Just make sure I understand what we're doing here. We're going to run any temporary sleeping quarters for 60 days to house employees.
2 bedrooms.
2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what?
Can I ask the motion maker, can we make that up to 60 days?
That's her original motion.
Not just 60 days, but up
Up
to,
to, yes,
Yeah.
that's what I meant.
that's fine, lawyers, that's fine.
All right, so we've got a motion, we've got a second, right? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, now, Commissioner Wood.
New motion, new motion. So we've heard about the problem at Millersville with the fire chief coming in and condemning the building. Now we've been told that the mayor's taking a look at this one EMS station and we have huge issues. I've been to other facilities, several, as Commissioner Rogers has, and I've seen code violations. I've seen them. I want to know if we can have a committee or I'm sure Commissioner Harris says we don't need to call the state fire marshal and ask him to do all our code review, but we need all our buildings done because I've seen problems elsewhere. I want to make sure we don't have this all over the place. I will step into saying that we need to talk about other areas, that we have people, I don't want to get into that because Mark wouldn't be happy, but, I want to make sure that we've reviewed all our buildings.
I want a second for the sake of discussion.
All right, so there's a motion, there's a second. So I just want to make sure, let me go ahead and put this out there so we know we're all on the same page. About 7 or 8 minutes ago, this committee was not wanting to talk about buildings. Not wanting to talk about buildings, not wanting to talk about codes, not wanting to talk about all that. Now we've got a motion and a second on the floor to talk about buildings and codes.
No, to talk about facilities where our employees are at.
I understand.
I thought that was our.
But about 8 minutes ago, that was the same argument we were having. So we've got a motion and a second. Commissioner Jones.
Now, the reason why I seconded it was to kind of give perspective here. You brought this up, I think, over a year ago.
I did.
To try to have an ad hoc committee to go around, and nobody could find the time to go around to all these different stations and explore them all. He did a lot of work with pictures and submitted a fact-finding mission of where all the shortfalls were, but the reason why it died in General Operations Committee multiple times is because we didn't own most of the buildings. And then if we're going to be strong-armed into doing something in this committee because of health reasons, then we should have notified all the owners of the respective buildings way back then, because that is not fair for the county to be on the hook for all these shortfalls of just common codes that are out of compliance. I mean, we've got a lot of information from over a year ago that we could just hit every one of these cities and departments with if we want to. And I think we should start there before we ever start the discussion of trying to find out what we need to fix. Because this is not our issue in this committee.
So, I understand what they're saying. I think the problem is these buildings are owned by the volunteer fire department, and some of them, we keep our little ambulance there. And I think we've been pretty steadfast about trying to help the ones that are having struggles, but the ones that don't have it, you know, I've been to some of the buildings, and quite frankly, I was afraid I was gonna fall through the deck.
Yep.
But, that's their, whoever does the building inspections for the county, I guess, they're in, and the building itself for the owner, they need to be working together. It's not our job to be the inspector general here, trying to inspect all these buildings. That's not our job. That's what we have inspectors for. At least that's what they're supposed to do, right? So why are we worrying about that? We need to send it off to the inspectors. Excuse me?
By that being in the city limits of Millersville, I don't think the county has the jurisdiction responsibility to go there and inspect it.
And I agree with you.
Therefore, what I would do is contact the state park marshal's office and ask them to come in and inspect it.
And then we're back to the same problem of what do we do with our people?
Right.
And where do they sleep tonight? I'm just asking questions. Commissioner Jones?
The hard part that nobody wants to say is they're going to be in danger of being shut down, and these volunteer halls are going to have to go to their people and be faced with raising funds, or they're going to lose service or serviceability in their areas. And that is what living in the county is about. You're not guaranteed services. We could find other places to park our ambulances, but it is a mutually beneficial thing for us to have our ambulance in their little community. They should be willing, the community should be willing to do their fair share.
I'll respectfully disagree with you. As part of a person who lives in the county, taxes, first of all, is a service that I intend to have. It's not a part of living in the county that you die when you have a heart attack because there's exhaust fumes coming across your paramedic's door in the middle of the night hours and they're passed out on the floor, and then the county commission, the legislative body, knew about it and did nothing to stop or prohibit that from happening. So I guess we're back to square one. I don't want anybody to die tonight on my hands or my watch. So Mayor, I would ask that you call All Access Coach and see if we can have 2 coaches brought over there as a voluntary donation for tonight, and we'll settle up the rest of it tomorrow.
We'll do what we can. But let me make sure everybody understands, that's owned by the city of Millersville, not by volunteer fire department.
Correct.
So, I just want to make sure it's clear to you, we're using the term volunteer fire department, but it is the city of Millersville.
So, yeah,
I'll also be reference to all the other places that were being talked about prior to my statement.
So I sit here and I shoot 3 holes in my tongues here tonight. So is what I would ask, Mayor. I mean, we've got motions floating around everywhere. We've got things floating around everywhere. We've got 60 days for an RD. What I would really like to see is for you to make the attempt to call over at All Access and ask him to take 2 coaches over there, and we'll have it. That way, we're not worried about showers and stuff. EMTs and paramedics, I believe, can go in and get the showers in there pretty safely. But if we can have those 2 coaches taken over there as a service to the county and our paramedics would greatly appreciate it. And if need be, I can take time off tomorrow and we'll secure other means through emergency management and see if we can have some shelters set up over there. He's got that command post. It's probably not ideal, but it would probably work in a situation like this. So,
In a pinch.
yeah, to say the least. So that's what I would like to see done. And that would be my motion. We only have one on the floor, so that would be my second motion that we've got on the floor, is to for the mayor to go ahead and contact the All Access, and then we'll see if they can get those put over there. We've got a second by Commissioner Bergdorf. So, back to the first motion, explore renting the RVs to house them for 60 days, but I would ask, for sleeping quarters, 2 rooms, obviously. So that's a motion and a second, we've got a support. Is that already passed? So we're back on my motion then, I guess. That's correct. Did you withdraw that? No, we got a motion and a second on that. No. Yes, that was for discussion. Yeah, we got into discussion. Sorry, I'm getting lost. And then, so now we've got a motion for.
I'll withdraw and send that to Jen off.
All right, so that's withdrawn. Now we're back down to my motion to encourage the mayor to call All Access coach, see if we can get 2 coaches over there for tonight. And we've got a second on that by Commissioner Bergdorf. All those in favor?
I got you.
Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Johnson.
So this is more of a question, if I could, an honesty, just to keep it in proper order, but it's a legal question. It sounds like this body is now directing our wishes to the mayor as to what to do, when it's my understanding that this is going up to Gen Ops. Anything we pass is going to Gen Ops.
I don't,
It's on the Gen Ops agenda.
again, I think you're missing the 2 prongs of this problem.
But if Gen Ops doesn't do it, is it gonna happen through this body?
This is strictly, as I understand it, an employee issue, nothing else.
Not the staffing thing.
We ain't worried about building, that's Gen Ops.
No, we're procuring a building or an RV.
Under an emergency circumstances for the employees who we know is in an OSHA.
Which we said could have been done through Gen Ops, and we put it on 2 committees to make sure that it passed. Again, the sky is falling.
I essentially think that the purpose of putting it on Gen Ops is to build the building part of it.
Correct.
But right now we have this issue of them breathing in carbon monoxide. And to remedy is bringing the coaches in and to eliminate that tonight and then work on getting a temporary, because it may take him or whomever a couple days to get a building to be able to put over there. So I would say that you would not limit yourself till tonight, but you would limit yourself perhaps up to 7 days.
Well, it's my reason for making the motion to encourage the mayor to do that tonight is that we've in good faith encouraged the executive body to do what they need.
But I mean,
Hold on, Commissioner,
so we
I
don't,
got people running everywhere.
so that we don't have to call a special thing, that we could say up to 7 days, the mayor would utilize that to his discretion to get them sleeping quarters until the other building is procured to put over there. That's what that would be my suggestion.
Commissioner Harris.
Call for the question.
Question's been called for. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Abstain.
Then abstention by Commissioner Jones.
I do have an addition though. This is an emergency purchase. Is this gonna follow emergency purchase procedures?
Yeah, that's what the mayor just said a while ago. You'd have to get with legal and finance.
I think
Is that what we're doing?
that's a key part of all of this, is this was asking the mayor to get with finance and
So it's an emergency.
do an
purchase.
emergency.
Yeah.
It'll be an emergency purchase.
Well, I'm gonna talk to David Line.
Thank you for clarification.
Commissioner Harris, we're down to, I think, 13C, volunteer fire department information.
Yes, sir, I'd like to hear from, the representative from the county, volunteer fire.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, all those opposed? All right.
Hey, this is gonna be real quick. I know y'all spent a lot of time. That kind of falls in together, I would assume. So, like I was mentioning earlier, the budget committee on Friday was having a talk about changing our funding structure coming next year, wanting us to become a subscription-based type service like Blount County, which of course we've done some look. That's not gonna be the greatest thing in the world. But one thing that would be nice, I'm asking for an ad hoc to be put together for the fire departments, made up of commissioners and some fire representatives and whoever else y'all want to put on it. Reason I say that is that would help you out with this issue here. You can get with the fire departments. We can look at some staffing things. We can look at some station things. I will say, as far as I know, only volunteer fire department that has an ambulance in Oak Grove and Shackle Island, both of those are county buildings. But we can get together, trade some information, go over some legal things as well, because about subscription-based, utility-based, why things are illegal, why they're not, how we can be funded, how we can't be funded, how we can help you, what the, that there's no state law that says there has to be a fire department by the state. You don't have to have us, we don't have to be here, but you do have to have a rescue squad, somebody to respond to wrecks, and things like that. So some good information I think can be traded, and that will work towards a 1, a 5, a 10, a 20-year plan for the volunteer fire departments inside this county, because we've been outside for so long, I think it's time to bring us all together. Not that y'all take over day to day by any means, but this would be a good place to trade information, make the public aware, and for you to be aware of some things that we can do together. And that's all I've got, unless y'all have some questions. All right.
All right, thanks, sir. All right, so, what's the will?
I'll motion we have an ad hoc.
All right, so we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, so, legal, that's what I was gonna ask, legal. Whose duty is that to appoint? Or can I appoint somebody to appoint?
Chairman should appoint that.
Good, thoughts to you.
That's what I was thinking, and then I'll bring that back next month, or just assuming it's cut out between now and then?
Yeah.
I'd like to be considered a member of that if you.
Absolutely.